Hello, everyone. Welcome to the theory class, lesson 4. Let's go ahead and start our evaluation on lesson 3, see how you did. Okay, here we go. Ready? Number 1, robe. Wear your robe. Number 2, wag. The dog will wag his tail. Number 3, could. The brief could. Could you do me a favor? Number 4, the brief be. I will be there today. Number 5, rear. He hit me in the rear. Number 6, case. Did he have a case? Number 7, the brief is. It is going to be a great day. Is. Number 8, tab. I will pick up the tab. Number 9, seat. Take a seat. Number 10, can. I can go with you today. All right, so let's look these over. You wrote those on your machine, so now I want you to look at your screen, or if you have paper in your machine, you can look at your Steno notes on your paper. If you have a paperless writer, I want you to look at your screen and read the Steno portion. Okay, not what was converted from your dictionary from the software. I want you to actually read your Steno notes. All right, this is part of learning theory and how to write. So let's go ahead and go over these, see how you did. Number 1 is robe, R, long O, B. Number 2, wag, W-A-G. Number 3, could, the brief could, initial K, final D. Number 4, be, the brief B, final B. Number 5 is rear, R-A-E-R. So we're using our A-E reversal because of the spelling. Number 6, case, K, long A-S. Number 7, the brief is, initial S. Make sure it's on the initial side. We only use final S if we have a phrase. Number 8 is tab, T-A-B. Number 9 is seat, S-A-E-T. Number 10 is can, initial K. All right, so if you missed any of those, I want you to go back. Go ahead and stop the video, go back and practice those words. Go back again in your lesson 3 and practice that lesson before you move on to lesson 4. All right? All right, so we'll go ahead and get started with lesson 4. So make sure that you have your sections printed out, okay? You want your handouts all printed so you can make notes on them. All right, so today we're going to focus on final D and final Z. Final D, final Z. All right, the way we write that is by using our pinky with our right hand. So again, our pinkies tend to be our weak fingers, kind of like the T and the S. So we need to work on building that strength up. So focus on really striking that key. So if my hands are in home position, it's naturally going to fall over the TS. So if we have a word like pad, we would write that as P-A-D. So you kind of have to move your finger over to get it to the D and then bring it back to home position again. Okay, so let's look at some of these letters that we're going to focus on. So we have A-D, and then strike your comma so that we can read it easier. So in between each one, you want to strike your comma. A-Z, and then strike your comma. Okay, O-D, strike your comma. O-Z, strike your comma. E-D, E-D, strike your comma. E-Z, strike your comma. U-D, strike your comma. U-Z, strike your comma. I-D, I-D, strike your comma. I-Z, strike your comma. Okay, and then the second row is a combination of them. U-D, U-Z, I-D, I-Z, A-D, A-Z, O-D, O-Z, E-D, E-Z. Okay? All right, moving into section 4.2. This is a word drill focusing on final D and final Z words. Let's look at the first word in line 1. Has. Notice when I say has, that's a final Z sound, so we use our final Z. We don't say has. She has to work today. We don't say she has to work today. So we want to use a final Z. Okay, it's very important that you don't use the S. Okay, and I'll explain in just a second why. There's several words that we use with an S, and it changes the whole word. So let's look at was. Was, W-A-Z. It's not was. We don't say I was going there. It's I was going there. So we use our final Z. As. As is A-Z. As. Okay. As you were going, the car pulled out. We don't say as you were going. And now this is the reason why we use the final Z. Because if we use a final S, that's the word ass. Okay, he was making an ass of himself. That's a final S. So that's exactly why words that are spelled with an S but have a Z sound, we use final Z. There's lots of words that conflict with other words that end with the final S. Okay, so that is a great example. As, ass. Okay, then we have sad, S-A-D. Okay, strike your comma. Pad, P-A-D. Strike your comma. Head, H-A-E-D. Okay, strike your comma. Cod, K-O-D. Cod. Strike your comma. His. Okay, here's another example. His. That is his car. We don't say that is his car. So his is H-I-Z. And if we accidentally use the S, we're going to get hiss, as in the snake will hiss at you. So that's why it's very important that you use the final Z. His. Okay, then we have hose. H-long-O-Z. Okay, we don't say hose. Get the hose. It's get the hose. So make sure you use your final Z. Read or read. R-A-E-D. Okay. Cad, K-A-D. Strike your comma. And then we have haze. Again, it's not haze. It's H-long-A-Z. H-long-A-Z. Haze. All right. Moving into section 4.3. We're going to learn a new theory principle today. We're going to learn our initial L. So the way we write our initial L is on the initial side, HR. If you notice, there's no L over here. So we're going to use our index finger with our left hand and strike the HR. Now, when your fingers are in home position, it's important that when you strike the L, you don't flatten your finger. You want to have it curved. And you're going to hit it right in between the cracks there. So don't flatten it. Make sure your finger's curved. And the HR, you need to strike both of those, and that will tell your dictionary that you're talking about the initial L. Okay, so make sure you fill the crack securely under your finger to strike the combination of those two letters. All right, so again, when you are reading your notes, you're going to see HR, but you want to tell yourself L. So that pretty soon, when you see HR, you don't see it as an HR, you see it as an L, okay? So let's look at our words that we have for practice, our word practice in 4.3. We have lit. The room was lit up. That is going to be your HR, I, which is your EU, T. Again, when you read that, don't say HREU. It's LIT. Okay? Lobe, as in an earlobe. L, long O, B. Lobe. Lass. That means a young girl or a woman, young woman. Lass is L-A-S. Laugh. Now notice laugh is very phonetic. We write it as L-A-F. Laugh. Lore, meaning like a myth. That's lore comes from the word folklore. L long O-R, lore. Lad, meaning a young boy or a young man. L-A-D, lad. Strike your comma in between each word. Lace, L long A-S, lace. That is, that dress has lace on it. Less, we have less to do than we thought. L-E-S. Leg, L-E-G. Lot, that is an open lot, L-O-T. Lead or lead, L-A-E-D. Lope, that means like a long stride. It's a verb. They walked in a fast lope. So that's going to be L long O-P, lope. Lab, L-A-B. Laid, that's the past tense for lay. It's a verb. She laid her purse down on the table. L long A-D, laid. Let her go, L-E-T. Lip, L-I-P, lip. Lug, L-U-G. And lap, L-A-P. Okay. All right. Moving on to our sentences that focus on the initial L. We have the lad would pay her. Remember, the lad means a young man. The lad would pay her, period. Now you're going to use your period because they're complete sentences. The lad would pay her less, period. Let Kay pay her less, period. Make sure you flag Kay because it's a proper name. Let Ray pay her less, period. Lob it to her. That means to throw or hit. So lob would be L-O-B, lob. Period. Lob it to less, period. The lug is lead, period. The lug is real lead, period. Laugh at the last, period. Now don't forget we phrase at the, it's T-E, at the. You laugh at the last, period. Her lobe is red, period. Her earlobe is red, period. All right. 4.5. We have some new briefs and phrases. Let's look at those. So today we learned our initial L, so this is going to focus on initial L. The way we write will is initial L, HR, or initial L. That's how we write will. Okay, then we have some phrases with will. Will the, initial L, final T. Will you, initial L, you. Will he, L-E. Will be, L-B. Will I, L-I. Will A, L-A. Make sure, because it's a phrase, we're going to use a short A. If you did a long A, it would be the word lay, okay? So anytime we phrase A, we're using a short A. Then we have in phrases only. Notice in line 3, it says will in phrases only. So we use a final L anytime we have a phrase where we have to use this side. Kind of like is, when we use is in phrases, we have to sometimes use the final S because it's a phrase like he is. That's exactly what we're talking about with will. So when we have he will, we're going to use E final L. Okay, you will, U final L. We will, W-E final L. It will, initial T final L. You don't want to do initial T, L on this side. Okay, that's going to be a THR word. So it's initial T final L. I will, I final L. Now, I want you to make a note on your handout. Write down the word ill, I-L-L, okay? The way we write ill, he is ill, is by writing it as Y-E or Y-I-L. So you don't know your initial Y yet, so that's okay. You don't have to know ill, he is ill, meaning sick. But obviously we can't write it as I-L because that would conflict with I will. And I will comes up all the time. So we had to come up with a different way to write ill. He is ill today. And that is by writing it as Y-I-L. Now we don't know, we haven't gone over our initial Y yet. So I just want you to take a note of that so later on you can go back and reference it if you need to, okay? So go ahead and just write that down. Make a note. Ill, I-L-L is written Y-I-L. And the Y is K-W-R, E-U for the I-L, okay? And then you can make a little note. We will go over the initial Y at a later time, okay? But I just like to let you know ahead of time so I don't get that question. What happens if ill comes up, okay? All right. Then we have letter, L-E-R, letter, L-E-R. Remember, R-E-B, R-E-B for remember. Today, T-O-D, today, which is why we phrase the proper name Todd. Todd is flag, T-O-D with the flag, so that it doesn't conflict with today, the brief today. Open, long O-P, open. All right, so those are your briefs and phrases for chapter 4. Moving into 4.6, that is a brief drill. So it's just focusing on the briefs, not the phrases on your new briefs. And there's a few older briefs that are thrown in there as well. Okay, so just separate each one with a comma. Would, comma, can, comma, letter, comma, will, comma, and so forth. Okay. All right. 4.7 is you're going to get a sentence drill, a writing drill, and that also focuses on your new briefs and phrases. So remember, if it's underlined, that means we have to phrase it. Okay, so we have Pat will lug it, period. Kay will lug it, period. He can remember, period. Can you remember, interrog. So can you is underlined, so we know we have to phrase that, K-U. It's one stroke. Her leg is sore today, period. Her leg will be sore today, period. So we're going to phrase will be, LB. The letter will tell, period. A letter will tell it, period. Can you open it, interrog? Again, can you, K-U. Okay, now don't forget if you make a mistake, let's say I strike K-E instead of can you. I would simply hit my asterisk key to let myself know I made a mistake and rewrite it, K-U. Okay, could you open it? Make sure you don't phrase could you. Could is initial K, final D. Okay, so I think sometimes people get confused and write it as K-O-U, but that would be cow, K-O-U. And we'll get into those at a later time, but make sure you write K or could as initial K, final D, and then come back for you. Remember to open it, period. Open the letter today, period. Will he remember Inarog? Will you remember Inarog? Will he remember today Inarog? I will remember, period. He will remember it, period. We will remember it, period. Will the cad laugh, Inarod? Cad is like a man who behaves dishonorably to a woman. That's a cad. We have to get pretty creative with our words since we're limited on our vocabulary at this time. Will the sore heal, Inarog? Will the lad read, Inarog? Will he open, Inarog? Will you open, Inarog? Will he open today, Inarog? I will open it, period. He will open it today, period. You will open it today, period. Now, if you want, if it would help you, you can always take your handout, especially with the new briefs and phrases, and right above the word, you can write what the brief is. So for today, if you want, write TOD, if that helps you. Ray will be sad, period. Sal will be sad, period. Kay will be sad, period. All right, moving into 4.8, a word practice. These are words. So you're going to start on line 1 and move your way across from left to right, separating each word with a comma. Sap, comma, par, comma. Par is like the number of strokes a player should require for a hole or a course. The 5th hole is a par 7. You hear it a lot with golf. Okay. Tab, comma, lag, comma, tad, comma. Sal is capitalized, so we know that's a proper name, so we want to flag that. Use your asterisks. Pat, comma, tag, comma, sag, comma, pad, comma, wag, comma, pal, comma. Now, I want you to go down to line 5, or yes, line 5, and you'll see sob, comma, cap, comma, pat, comma, purr. Now, purr is a word, but as in the cat will purr, but we have to flag that because in lesson 12, you're going to get a brief that is the word purchase, and we write purchase as P-U-R. So we have to flag the word purr. Purchase comes up much more often, so usually we try to flag the one that is least often used. So in this case, it would be purr. So the way you write purr is P-U-R with the flag. I would definitely use my left index finger because my right index finger is on the R. Okay? So make yourself a little note if you want down below, if you want to put an arrow down just saying lesson 12, we will receive a brief for the word purchase, and that is P-U-R. So we must flag the word purr. Okay? Then we have pug, cob. Cob is like corn on the cob. It also could be a powerful, short-legged horse, or it's also a hazel bush, or it's a male swan. So there's lots of different definitions for cob. All right, then on line 6, if you notice, there's cab, sat, puff, hug, lob. Now, lob means to throw or hit, and that's just written as L-O-B. Then line 7, we've got rat, put, less, rose. Make sure you use a Z there. Otherwise, it would be rose. All right, so rose. I smelled the rose. We're using our final Z. Okay, his. Make sure you use your final Z. His. It's not hiss. And then we have lace. Now, lace is written with an S. Lace, L long A S. Lays would be with a Z. Okay, so lace is going to be with using your final S. Line 8, we have rare, leg, rope, hiss. There's our final S, hiss. The snake will hiss. And then we have laze, which is a verb, to spend time in a lazy manner. He will laze around today. That is going to be written with a Z, L long A Z. Okay, laze. So you can hear the difference. Lace, laze. Okay, hiss, his. Then we have raise. Raise your hand. R long A-Z. If we use an S, it would be race. The cars will race today. Okay. Line 9, we've got led or lead, rode, hit, laid, race, let. Line 10, roll. That roll is written as R-O-L. Okay, so because we use roll, what role will you play as R long O-L. Okay, so make a little note there above that if you want to. The roll that you eat or roll the body over is written as R-O-L. Then we have hid, late, raid, roll. Now, roll, what role will you play is written as R long O-L because the roll we eat is R-O-L. So we don't have to flag anything, which is really nice. And then let's look at road. This is the road, the noun. The road is rough. And then we've got road as in I rode my bike to work. So first, let's look at this word, road, R-O-A-D. Again, we don't want to flag if we don't have to because it does slow us down. It's a little tricky. So we came up with a way to write road. The way that we write road is R-A-O-D. It's a lot like the A-E reversal, except we're using instead of, road is spelled R-O-A-D. So we write it as R-A-O-D. So we don't have to flag, which is really nice because I think both of the homonyms, road and road, come up the same amount of time. So then we have rode as in a verb. I rode my bike to work. That's a long O. Okay, R-O-D-E. So that's a long O. Okay. So that's not on your handout, the other road, the verb. But I like to just remind everyone. Okay, so make yourself a little note. Okay, we're going to go over more of this in 410. We're going to go over more homonyms there. Okay. Okay, so just make a little note. R-O-A-D is written R-A-O-D, kind of like the A-E reversal. All right. 4.9. This is a practice writing drill. Okay, he was so set, period. And that so is just S-O, talking about an adverb. I was so set, period. Kay was so set, period. Lug the rug, period. We would lug the rug, period. We would lug the rug today, period. Okay, now let's look at line 5. Laugh a lot, period. A lot is 2 words. So A is considered an article A, so we're going to use a long A, and then lot, come back for, L-O-T. When I say come back for, that means a different stroke. So you're going to hear me say that a lot. Come back for, that means in a second stroke or in a third stroke. So a lot would be long A, lift up, and then come back for the second stroke, L-O-T. Okay. All right, let's look at line 7. Will Rob remember to rob Todd today? So we know the first Rob is our proper name, so we're going to flag that. So I would definitely use my right index finger, my right index finger since my left is on this R, okay? So will Rob remember, R-E-B for our new brief, to rob, that's just R-O-B, Todd today. So Todd, T-O-D, with our flag, because it's a proper name. I'd probably use my left index finger because it's closest. Today, T-O-D, interrog. Eat a roll with us. Eat is going to be our A-E reversal. Roll, R-O-L, okay. With us, we're going to phrase with us, W-U-S. It'll look like wuss. And then we have the ape is up the pole. Again, we're going to phrase up the, U-P-T, period. All right, moving into section 4.10, handout 4.10. This is going to cover real-time, the real-time asterisks, and homonyms. Some of these are review, but I want to make sure that you guys understand how we are writing these words so we don't have conflicts. We want to be a real-time writer. So if I say, I will put the sailboat up for sale, we don't want to write that the same way. We have to show our dictionary that we're talking about two different words, which are homonyms. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Line 1, we have pail. Take a pail and put shells in it. That's going to be P long A-L. Okay, then we have pale. You look pale today. And if you want to highlight the E at the end of that word, I like to, that was a way that I always remembered it. If the word most of the time ended with an E, that was the one that we would flag. So you look pale today, P-A-L-E, so that's going to be P long A-L with the flag, okay? And it's probably less often used. Then we have sail, the sailboat, S long A-L, and then sail. Again, if you want to highlight the E at the end of sail, we're going to flag that one. It ends with an E, S long A-L with the flag. You can use either finger to flag it. Tail. The cat's tail got caught in the door, T long A-L. And then tail. Again, I encourage you to highlight that E at the end of tail, which is T long A-L with the flag. Okay. It's less often used as well. Okay, we have toe. The toe on our foot is more important than the tow truck, so we don't flag our toe on our foot. So toe, T-O-E, is just T long O. Tow, the tow truck, that one is flagged, T long O with the flag. Pair, I need a pair of socks, P long A-R. Then we have pair, meaning to cut or shave off. That does not come up as often, so that one's going to be flagged, P long A-R with the flag. And again, you can highlight that E at the end of pair. Then we have pair, to eat a pear, P-A-E-R. Okay, or, which is like a conjunction, just O-R, just like it's spelled, or. Then we have the mineral ore. They mined for ore. That's long O-R, which makes sense. It's spelled O-R-E, so we're pretty much writing it the same way. It's just a little bit, it's out of order, okay? Then we have oar, as in a paddle. I need an oar to use in the rowboat. That's similar to the AE or EA reversal, but we're using the AO. So it's spelled O-A-R, so we're writing it as A-O-R. And the way that we use that, or the way we write it, is just using our left thumb, striking the A-O together. Or I said right thumb, I meant left thumb. Okay, strike those together, and then your final R. Okay, so it's kind of nice because we don't have to flag any of the ors. Then we have so, so, and so. Let's look at so. The first so, S-O. That can be used as a conjunction or an adverb. I wanted to go, so I got a babysitter, conjunction, or he was so rude, that's an adverb. And the way we write that is just like it's spelled, S-O. Then we have the verb sow. I want to learn how to sow, S long O. Okay, then we have sow as in to plant by scattering on or in the earth. That's not used as often, so that's the one that we're going to flag, okay? S long O with the flag. That's where we get the saying sow what, or reap what you sow. Okay, then we have poll. That means like a voting in an election, poll, P-O-L-L. So we're going to write it just like it's spelled, P-O-L. Okay, then we have pole, as in the telephone pole or a pillar. That's going to be P long O-L. Okay. Roll and roll, same thing. Roll that you eat, or the verb roll him over is R-O-L. And then Role as in a noun, the actor's part in a play. What role will you play is R long O-L. Okay. Toll and toll. So T-O-L-L. It's a noun. It's a change for a bridge or a road. Toll is T-O-L. Toll booth. Then we have toll, as in a painted tin plate used for decoration. You don't hear that as often, but that one is going to be T long O-L. Okay. Then we have rode and rode. So the first rode is the verb. I rode my bike to school, R long O-D. And then we have the noun road. The road was rough. That's going to be written as R-A-O-D. Okay, it's kind of like our A-E reversal, but we're doing the A-O. Okay, then we have raise and raise. So the first raise is our common one, R-A-I-S-E, raise your hand. That's going to be R long A-Z, raise your hand. Make sure you don't use your S, that would be race. Okay. Then we have raise. That's a verb. It means to demolish or to destroy. That is not very common. You don't hear it come up very often, but when it does, we want to flag it. So he will raise the building, meaning demolish it, R long A-Z with the flag. Okay, so I can't really, because this is spread out, it's difficult for me to show you, but I would definitely use this, this index finger here. Okay, and if you have a hard time, if you have short fingers and you have a hard time getting over here, what you can do is what we call tapping. So when you push down on these letters here, what you can take one side and lift up. If you want to use your right side, lift up. Keep your left fingers on these keys. You hit this and then lift up, and you will see all of them, all of the keys printed on your screen or your paper. Or you can do the opposite, R long A-Z. If I have my fingers on the E-U-Z, I could lift up here and then hit this and then lift up with all of the keys, and that's what we call tapping. Okay. All right. All right, moving into section 411, we have practice sentences. Number one, raise it up. Again, we're using our final Z, not S. It would be the word race. He is to raise it with the rope. Ted was to raise the car up. So that one is not flagged. It's just to raise your hand or lift up. Then the second sentence or line, we have he will raise the lab, meaning demolish. That one is flagged. Will he raise the lab? Would he raise the lab? So make sure you flag those, and feel free to put a little asterisk right above R-A-Z-E to help you, to remind yourself to flag it. Okay. Line 3, he hit his toe, period. He has a sore toe, period. His toe was hit, period. Number 4, and don't forget, the toe on our foot is not flagged. Number 4, we're talking about a tow truck. That is flagged. Tow it with the rope, period. Tow the car, period. Will he tow the race car in a rog? Number 5, he rode to the road, period. So the first road is a long O. Second road is going to be our A-O. Okay, tell the tale, period. So tell, T-E-L, the, and then tail, T long A-L, with the flag. Okay, the pup will wag his tail. That tail is just a long A, not flagged. Will you sell the pail? So sell, S-E-L. Okay, he is pale today. Now that pale is flagged. Pare the pear. So the first pear is to shave or cut off. So we're going to flag that. P long A-R with the flag. Pear. Okay. Pare the pear. P-A-E-R. Eat the roll. So we've got A-E-T, the, and then roll, R-O-L. Period. Will you play the roll? That roll is R long O-L. The road is wet. R-A-O-D. Are we to pay the toll in Iraq? T-O-L. Okay. Cal has the toll. T-long-O-L. Right? So I encourage you to spend some extra time with your handout 410 and 411 because there are several homonyms there and real-time words that where we use the real-time asterisks. That takes some getting used to. And write down any type of reminder that you can for a visual, if whatever helps you to remember which one to flag, which one not to flag. Like, again, my example with toe and toe. Our toe is more important on our foot than the tow truck driver. That's how I remembered which one to flag. So if you have another way, way to remember that, write it down. And you can always go back and reference your notes and just spend some time going over those when you're writing that part of the lesson. It's going to come up over and over again. So it's really important that you get those down. Okay, that from now on you're going to hear those everything that you learn in every lesson it's never going to go away. So you have to master each lesson before you move on to the next, because you're going to continue to hear it from now on. So with that being said, now that we just covered lesson 4, I want to give you an optional highlighting drill if you want. It's not required, but if you would like, I encourage you to, print out your notes and go through and highlight with one color. You can highlight all of your words that have the AE reversal. Okay, so highlight those. It just helps you to read your words, read your sentences, your notes. Highlight anything with another color that maybe you made a mistake on, so that those stand out. Put it in your book, your notebook of words that you need to practice on that you have a hard time with. And then I encourage you to go through your Steno notes and highlight any initial L words, because we just learned our initial L. So take another color. It doesn't matter what color. So for instance, if you highlight all your mistakes in yellow, then those are going to stand out. If you highlight all of your initial L words with pink, that's going to stand out. If you highlight all your AE reversal words, that's going to stand out. Okay, so maybe all of your words that you have to flag, all of your homonyms, use a blue highlighter. And that's just optional. You don't have to, but I highly encourage you to do it, because it really helps for you to be looking for things and to see the patterns of what maybe mistakes you're making. And also it teaches you how to read your Steno notes. So from now on, I will give you an optional an optional task to highlight anything that you feel maybe stands out to you, or I'll give you some tips on what to highlight, and it will just help you to become more familiar with your writing and reading your Steno notes. All right, so that concludes our lesson 4. And when you have completed this at least 3 times, preferably 4, gone through and read your Steno notes and compared it to your handouts, then you will want to listen to the read back portion of lesson 4. Okay, have a wonderful day.